particular fight that you want more than any other fight out there?
That fight that you just said, I would love to fight still to this day. But
which one, Garcia or Gervonta?
Not a fight you just said.
That fight, Gervonta. That's what I want.
I would love that fight.
That's what I want.
I would love that fight still.
Gervonta Davis scared.
Hey man, like I said, I don't speak on that dude.
Is Ryan Garcia scared?
He been saying my name lately. Let's see if he really stick with it.
Is Devin Haney scared?
We'll see.
You and Tank ever linked up in the ring?
Yeah, we sparred before.
Can we ever expect a fight?
Yeah, for sure. I think that's gonna be one of the biggest fights in the world.
No cap.
I feel like how they talking about Earl and Bud Crawford, I feel like me and Tank gonna be basically 2.0 of that.
Yeah.
Probably even bigger than.
What Shakur is looking for is something different than, he was looking for more of a long-term commitment other than just doing one fight. And so he's got his deal. He's getting busy. He's got a fight scheduled, and maybe we'll pick up and do something there. But aside from that, to be candid, those are the big names at 135.
I don't think that it is a scenario where Shakur Stevenson needs to do well. I'm just going to be honest with you. If he really wants to make a statement about him being the best fighter, he's got to fight Gervonta Davis at 135 pounds because I'm telling you right, there's nobody at 135 pounds that he beat that can claim that they.
Stephen A. Smith has made his opinion crystal clear regarding Shakur Stevenson and the stalled fight with Gervonta Davis. According to Smith, Stevenson had a huge opportunity to elevate his legacy, but failed to move the deal forward. For Smith, this situation goes beyond money or business negotiations. He believes the fight against Tank Davis represented a defining moment for Shakur's career and a chance to prove himself against one of boxing's biggest stars. Now, the debate around the matchup continues to grow, with fans divided over who was truly responsible for the fight not happening.
Gervonta Davis got some issues, and God bless him. We hope that everything gets, he gets his life in order, all this other stuff. What about ever fighting him?
With all due respect to you, I don't really like talking about that dude.
Right.
I ain't really trying to speak too much on him.
I'm talking about the fight, not his life. Just fighting him. That's all I meant.
Cause like when you go out there and like you ask about this, and they're gonna try to twist and turn it as if like I need this guy or it's something that I need. I don't need nobody.
Gotcha.
I'm a big superstar. I make a lot of money, so for me, I really don't even like.
You don't
talk
need
about
anybody. It. Even Terrence Crawford felt he needed Canelo. Even Terrence Crawford felt he needed Errol Spence. He needed those big fights. There's not a big fight that you think you need.
I don't need nobody.
Nobody.
I think that at the end of the day, if things gonna make sense, it's gonna make sense, and I'm just following God's plan.
Mm-hmm. Is there a particular fight that you want more than any other fight out there?
That fight that you just said, I would love to fight still to this day. But
which one, Garcia or Gervonta?
Not a fight you just said.
That fight. Gervonta. That's what I want.
I would love that fight.
That's what I want.
During his comments, Stephen A. Smith strongly praised Gervonta Davis, calling him one of the most dangerous fighters in boxing today. He highlighted Tank's knockout power, aggressive style, and ability to change a fight instantly with one punch. Smith also questioned whether Shakur Stevenson's technical, defensive approach would be enough against a fighter with Tank's explosiveness and pressure. His overall message was simple. If Shakur wants to silence critics, he needs to eventually step into the ring and prove himself against elite opposition.
Davis, when the dust settles, is going to be the super fight opponent because he's just in the winner's bracket, or is it someone else?
It's highly likely. I mean, that's probably the biggest name in that division. But here's the thing, or the issue that I have with Tank Davis, and I know they won't like this, but this is the truth. These are the facts. We don't really know how good Tank Davis is based on the level of competition that he's fought. You can say that I'm old school. You can tag me with that, but you don't get to reinvent the wheel. If you want to be an all-time great, I'm not talking about Twitter followers. I'm not talking about Instagram followers. We need to see you up against another equal or somebody close to you, not the same looking type of guys, not regular guys, but guys that are real threats. Make those kind of fights and then beat those guys. And then you know what? Do it again and then do it again. Then you can start to feel like he's the guy in the division. Until that happens, Max, that's just on paper. Any one of those guys that I named at 130 has the opportunity to have a night against Lomachenko. Not saying they'll do it, but they have the opportunity.
Dre and Max, that's why I asked the question, because the name that kept coming to my mind was Gervonta Davis, because I want to
However, reports suggest the failed negotiations may have had more to do with business structure than fear of the matchup itself. Former Showtime executive Steven Espinoza recently discussed the situation and revealed more details about the talks. According to Espinoza, Stevenson's team was reportedly interested in a broader multi-fight agreement rather than a single event contract for the Davis fight. That approach may have complicated negotiations and prevented both sides from reaching a final agreement.
When you continue to perform well against high-level opposition, people expect a lot from, there were preliminary discussions about the Shakur fight, early on, like back early, for 2024 before this was scheduled. Didn't get very far for reasons I won't go into. But
come on.
I just think there were, I'm not sure that the time was right. I think, what Shakur was looking for was something different than, he was looking for more of a long-term commitment other than just doing one fight, and so he's got his deal, he's getting busy. He's got a fight scheduled and, maybe we'll pick up and do something there. But aside from that, to be candid, those are the big names at 135. I know Tank has gone up to 140. And he would on occasion. He hasn't looked the best there. Overall, I think 135 is his best weight. So it would take a lot for him to.
In boxing, contract negotiations often shape public perception just as much as performances inside the ring. Critics argued that Stevenson's side focused.
Look, Gervonta Davis at one point in time, and I remember this in an interview with it was Gervonta Davis was on the Rise podcast with Coach Kenny and I do believe Calvin Ford. And they got an argument with Blue Blood Sports TV. During this argument, Gervonta Davis said that he had fought all of them. And he talked about Shakur, he talked about Devin, and he said, I cracked all of them. That is what he said about Shakur Stevenson. But also, I remember at another point in time, that when Gervonta was talking about how he needed to get serious about the sport of boxing because he had sparred Shakur Stevenson, and he was like, whoa, I got to really make sure I get up on my game for this guy. I remember him saying both of those things. And of course, Gervonta Davis will be dismissive of somebody here and there. However, Gervonta Davis has always, from what I've seen, taken Shakur Stevenson very, very seriously as a competitor. I know that his training, his camp, Leonard Ellerby and those guys always said that Shakur Stevenson was a great fighter. The only issue with making the fight was the pay scale associated with the fight, because Shakur Stevenson was making more money over a top rank than he would make, or not. He would not, based off the sales of the fight, just the naked sales of the fight, Shakur wouldn't make as much money fighting Gervonta Davis at that time as Shakur would have wanted to make. So that's why Shakur Stevenson went somewhere else. Shakur is also on my channel, and Gervonta Davis and Shakur Stevenson and those guys were talking about something over $6 million. I think they said something like $6 million as a placeholder. So I know Gervonta Davis's camp